Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to another Burning Crusade Classic Guide. My name is Kargoz and today we're going to be discussing Warlock leveling. So I just leveled to 70 recently. A lot of this information is fresh in my mind and I'm just hoping to put it all in one place to help you guys out, set you up for success moving into TBC on your Warlocks. So without further ado, let's get into it. So there's one spec that sticks out. I've tried a bunch of these Warlock specs now. There's one spec that sticks out that whether you're super geared in Classic or if you're on a fresh 58 boost, either way, it's going to help carry you to victory and just be like a Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades, multi-tool spec that's going to be really good for you, and it involves the Felguard. The Felguard deals a lot of damage. He's very tanky as well. He can off-tank targets in the dungeon. Even if you're doing like a spell cleave, a 5-man stack, this build is still a very viable option. You know, things could be min-maxed a bit more in either direction if you wanted to solo out in the open world or spell cleave, but we're going to start there. So let's build it out. If you're running with another Warlock, you can go, one of you can go 1 out of 2, of course, so you can have the different XL stone. Impel Funnel, I like this. In TBC, the spell is a bit better, and you do use it more so than in Classic. So you can get a little bit more spell damage if you go like, you know, Fel Intellect or Fel Stamina. There's a bit more synergy with Demonic Knowledge. It's just personal preference. I like it though. So we're basically working our way down towards Felguard. Five here, 1 here, 3 here, and there it is. So at this point, you can either decide to go Affliction and get some of these tried and true talents, Suppression if you need to hit. A lot of you who have Classic Gear on, you're not going to need it at all. Instant Corruption, Imp Life Tap, convert that health to mana at a favorable exchange rate. Imp Drain Soul, they buffed this a bit, and now gives you an instant chunk of mana back if you get the KB on a mob, Killing Blow. If you're in a 5-man stack though, this is how it works on P server. On TBC Classic it might be a bit different, but if you're in a 5-man stack, this talent could get massively devalued because you're not always going to get the Killing Blow and everything. Or you could, you know, you go Destruction and work your way down towards Shadowburn. It's kind of personal preference. You get ISP, you get Bane. You'll almost undoubtedly do higher single target damage if you go Demo into Destruction rather than Affliction, right? Shadowburn to squeeze out a little bit more damage on you know, trash mobs or on the boss or whatever. Just immolates very, very strong ability. Even if you are Shadow Destro, which is the spec I think most people should end up being when they go raid, you know, you graduate out of the Affliction and the Fire Destro Dream stuff pretty quickly. Especially moving from Classic into TBC, you're going to craft all this stuff almost instantly. Spell Strike, you might get a bit bottlenecked with Primal Might. That could be an issue, but, you know, you'll have Frozen Shadow even almost instantaneously. Girdle of Ruination, I don't have that yet, but all this stuff. I think Shadow Destro's the play for raiding at 70, to be honest. But yeah, for leveling, you know, you have a bit of an option. You can go Demo Affliction or Demo Destruction, or split the difference. You could do something like this and get 5 in Corruption, and then just to get that on the table, then go 5 in ISB, 5 Bane, 1 Shadowburn. You still have 4 points to spare too. You go back Affliction, get to 2 in Life Tap, 2 here to hit cap you on mobs, 2 levels higher. You don't need this. You don't need Improved Drain Soul. There's something about it. I mean, it's good. It gives you a chunk of mana back on every kill. But I mean, sometimes you just have like max rank water on you and it doesn't matter too much if you want to sit and drink a tick. It doesn't really increase your power level in combat. But you could totally shift these 2 points out of a suppression, put them here. Go deeper down. You know, if you didn't go Destro at all, you could make it all the way down to Grim Reach and Nightfall. If you wanted to an Amp Curse. To each their own. This is a solid spec though. There's a bunch of ways to build the car. Let's summon the Felguard now, just so I can show you how strong it is. And, right out of the box, it's 60. Or even when you first get it, I think the earliest you can get it is like 50, right? As soon as you get it, you're going to notice just how beefy he is. He does so much damage. And I'll show you just my system for him. Okay. So here's the Felguard's abilities. You have Anguish, which I never use. It's a taunt from him. It costs mana. Just seems unnecessary. He does a lot of threat and damage already, and you want to just keep his mana in a good spot. Yes, you can tap with this. If you have mana feed, 1.2 points. Every time you tap, your demon will get a portion of that tap in terms of mana back. So all my Warlocks know the struggle. Your pet's out of mana like a Voidwalker or something, and he feels so useless, and then you can't make your Voidwalker drink. So sometimes you resummon a new one. That's a nice improvement for Warlock quality of life, the fact that you can regen your pet on demand. Anyway, then he has Cleave. Cleave doesn't work like classic Cleave. It's not like Warriors where it queues up with the next auto. It's an independent attack, hits 2 targets, does a lot of damage. Demonic Frenzy is a stacking passive that longer he has uptime on a target, the more damage he'll do. And Intercept, just like the Warrior Intercept, short cooldown, stuns 3 seconds, a little chunk of damage as well. So I don't do Intercept on autocast personally. You can, just for quality of life, if you're just chilling watching Netflix, you want to just kill stuff, put it on autocast, go for it. But the little trick I like to do with Felguard is I'll send him in with 1 mob, just to guild fashion away. Maybe I'll just throw a couple dots on it. I'll maybe get 2 autos on it, and then I'll send it at another mob. These are a little bit spaced out, right? But I can charge this one, dot this one up, bring him back to here. It's a little bit sloppy just because mobs are a bit away. But even these, he'll cleave them down, no problem. And you get the idea. So you bring them at 1 target, then you intercept them to the 2nd target. You can always just kill 2 targets. Easy like that. This is like a, you know, a rare elite or something. He'll shred it. I mean, I have some gear on my dude. I got my spell strike, some Kara gear. I got the S1 blade. But your Felguard, you can expect it to do about 40% plus your damage. Really nice. This is by the way the rotation you would do with this. You know, you can throw on Agony, Corruption, Immolate. If it's a short fight, like where you're not even gonna get like half Agony value, like even right there, it might not even be worth to throw Agony. You can just Corruption Immolate. Corruption Immolate, I've found is oftentimes just like the rotation a lot more than you'd think. I mean, sometimes you're not worried about the mana though. You know, you could just go like this, right? Corruption Immolate, send the Felguard, wand, good to go. Mob will die before you get any kind of substantial value from Agony. Agony is good as a pulling tool. All this I've covered in my last classic leveling guides, but Agony is a 24-second dot. Ticks every 2 seconds as opposed to every 3 seconds like your other dots. First 4 ticks of Agony deal like almost no damage, just something to keep in mind. So you really make all your money with Agony on the back end. It's like a mortgage. Okay. So that's the Felguard for you. You see the rotation in the dungeon. You can have him off-tank a target. I think the dungeons will be pretty easy, though. You probably won't need to do that. But really good for farming out in the open world, PvP. You still wouldn't use the Felguard in PvP, ideally, though. Like, if you see somebody that you're trying to kill, you'd whip out the Fel Hunter. He just doesn't have that much utility in PvP in terms of... he just has damage, right? There's no Devour Magic. There's no Paranoia. There's no Spell Lock. So you're still using the Fel Hunter almost all the time in PvP. Seed of Corruption, you don't get this till 70. So I guess your only AoE options early is just multi-dotting. You can Rain of Fire and Hellfire. But once you get 70, you almost barely ever use those other than PvP. So this is a good build. It's a solid build. There's a couple different options. Demo splashing into Affliction, Destruction, or a little bit of both. My recommendation, as far as raiding goes, or if you don't want to use the Felguard, like if you have really nasty gear in Classic, super good gear, and let's say the dungeons are a little bit harder than we think they're going to be, or let's just say you like the simplicity and elegance of Shadow Destro, just go Shadow Destro, man. Get Shadow and Flame, get Ruin, get Demonic Sacrifice, sack the Succubus. That, so far, has been the highest damage output for me as a Warlock. And I'm starting to really like pumping these dungeons and stuff. So, you know, it's very simple. You know, you can focus on just squeezing out damage, especially if you're new to TBC, you're learning all the fights, learning all the dungeons. The simplicity of just throwing on elements, Shadow Bolting, Shadow Burning, maybe Searing Pain, toss a couple of those in, but it's not that serious. It's nice, man. It allows you to just kind of like learn the fights and have the bandwidth to do other stuff too. But yeah, you're going to hear a lot of hype for Affliction in Kara and T4. There are some fights that are really good for Affliction too, you know, but there's no dual spec in TBC, so are you going to really respec and go Affliction for the first boss of, you know, High King Mogor and Gruels? Or some of these Affliction-friendly fights? Nah, man, just go Shadow Destro. So as far as dungeon cleaves go, I'm likely going to dungeon cleave. It worked out super well for me. I'm going to go double Warlock, Mage, R Shaman, and Prop Pally. Bloodlust, 4 white protections, elementals, double seed. I think it's one of the best comps you can have in the game, and it works really well. So, but if you're gonna dungeon cleave, my point is, Try to find the reputations and the quest lines that are going to give you the most bang for your buck. Like, find an order of operations of highest impact thing to do and work your way down. Stick together, do the 5-mans together, do the heroics together. It's the ultimate way to set yourself up for success on a new server, on an expansion, is to have a rock solid 5-man team that you all trust, you like each other's company, you can play with each other indefinitely. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. You're not going to be looking for a tank. You're just going to be chilling in your own element. It's a good time. Looking through the spell book here, let me see if I can notice anything different. Banish is banish. Spellstone's a bit different in TBC. It no longer gives you an absorb. It just purges off all the negative magical effects. But good news about Spellstone is that it no longer sits in your offhand slot. It sits in your wand slot. So you can set up a macro where, like, you Spellstone, you know, like for me, like Spellstone's control F1, but this is my wand. I don't have the macro on right now, but you could have a macro where you equip wand and shoot. So there's really like no drawback. Like, you'd have the Spellstone equipped, and then if you need your wand, you can just whip out the wand and blast something with it in PvP or whatever. There's a lot of quests that are like easy, low-hanging fruit quests. You kill one mob, you get the Star Killer's Bauble. Shadow Moon Valley quest for the headpiece, the Maghar quest for the headpiece. There's a lot of stuff like that that's really worth doing and keeping in mind while you level, but it could be super crowded in the world, so you can always come back and do that stuff later. You're gonna need all the reps. There's a little tip. There's tips and tricks too. Like, if I look back on it, it'd be nice to park an alt at a major city with a bunch of gold on it. Buy all the Coilfang armaments, unidentified plant parts, sanguine hibiscus, the Aldor fragments or fell armaments, marks of kill Jin. If you just buy all that stuff early before the economy forms, snipe Felcloth, snipe Spellcloth early at good prices, you're gonna need all that stuff. It'll be really advantageous to do so. That stuff just accelerates rep, right? People forget as soon as you can get, I think it only takes like 13 to 20 fell armaments to get honored with the Shatar and Aldor, and then you can get shoulder enchants. Yeah, stuff like that. Just be mindful, be forward thinking, future thinking about all the stuff you need. You're gonna need silk for tailoring, you're gonna need lots of netherweave cloth, you're gonna need primals, and just know your path and save these materials. Save greens maybe because you're gonna need arcane dust for tailoring. Also, go tailoring as a warlock. That's the thing that's kind of like non-negotiable. Leatherworking, you may not need it depending what they do with drums, but tailoring, look at all the stuff you make. Spell strike hood, spell strike pants, 3 pieces of netherweave, and yeah, they say, or shadow weave. Yeah, they say you're gonna get Prio T4 2-piece, right? But it still may take 4 or 5 weeks until you get 2-piece tier 4. So if you have a lot of golden classic and you're really trying to, wear sweatpants, then just make all 3 for now. Once you get there, it doesn't cost that much. Girdle of Ruination, that's another tailoring. Yeah, as far as like weapons too, like I'm using the S1 blade right now, but that's not going to be there on launch. You can get this, but it's through arena points. Best weapons you can get access to probably are Caverns of Time Revered. You get 129 spell power blade there with like 7 or 9 hit on it. It's decent. And then Thrallmar Exalted, you get a blade with like 90 spell power. Or I forgot the exact. It's an epic epic blade, spell power blade. And in our comp, right, 4 out of 5 people can make use of that blade. So that would be one that you might want to consider prioing. That's about it though, guys. Shadow Destro's the play. Fire Destro, didn't have the best experiences with it. Can probably do pretty decent. Yeah, Doom targets if they're going to survive for a minute plus. You get Soul Shatter. You have a threat dump as a Warlock now. So, like, you have to run Omen. And you pretty much just try to get as greedy as possible and get as high up on the threat meter as you can before reaching that 130% threshold. Then you shatter and you lose 50% of your threat immediately. It's a 5-minute cooldown, takes a shard though. So, it's something that you can only use once per fight. Seed of Corruption, you're going to absolutely love it. Oh, you also have Soul Well. Soul Well, you can make Hellstone cookies. It only takes 1 shard. You make a whole well full of cookies for everybody. Fell Armor, new ability in TBC. This gives you some spell power, but also you get bonus like healing effects on you. So healers love it when you have Fell Armor. They hit you with one of their heals and it just shoots you up. Let's see what else we got here. I think that's about it, man. I think that's about it. Hit cap's 202. I don't know if there's going to be hit gems in right away. It hasn't been too bad getting the hit gems, or getting hit capped. It's, you know, if you have a lot of gold, I mean, it's going to be expensive for a Warlock, but at the same time, if you have a lot of gold, it's kind of easy. It's kind of straightforward to get a bunch of gear. I mean, you know, you're getting like 7 pieces or something. As far as consumes, Flask of Pure Death, Destro Pot or Mana Pot. More often than not, Mana Pots are cheaper and better a lot of the times. That's about it though, guys. If you can think of anything else you want to cover, TBC related, Warlock related, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about leveling, you want to share your strategy, you want to talk about it, you think I'm an idiot for something I'm saying, let's talk about it, man. Keep the discussion going. With that said, everybody, have a good day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.